Hey everyone, Mrhappy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mrhappy, aka Mrhappy Mondays, the weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. It's take two, and I'll let you know I'm guilty of it because I went to start my Patreon sponsor shout out at the beginning of the video instead of the end of the video, and I had to remember there was a name that I forgot to add, and so I just started over, calling myself out on that one. So for anyone who's wondering, if you don't make it all the way to the end of the video, every week I shout out Patreon sponsors that are of multiple tiers. There's a $5 tier, $10 tier, and a $25 tier over on the Patreon. Depending on how much people support, we shout them out with different tiers here at the beginning of the show, or sometimes at the end if I forget to do it until the end. So I had to add a name to the list who was a premium one, so I definitely didn't want to forget that. So for our standard supporters over on Patreon, we have MrSynestrrr, Argoti, Fafarian, Rendil, and Giraffeswillrule, as well as Stevie-Rex. Those are our standard sponsors. Our elite sponsors: sour cream and chives from Jenova, Velestra of Famfrit, Kurenai Oni, Ignis Fairgun of Diabolos, Goetia, Valefar of Siren, Jean-Francois P Michaud, Fersh, Phoenix Down Free Company on Goblin, Serren from Zodiark, and Khuja. And then our premiums: Jenova, Odin of Tonberry server. That was the one I almost forgot to add to the list. Private Mikey, Obijal Shamsi, Spike, NadienKirisame, Rudy Rudiger, TinColossus, Khuja Cross of the Jenova server, Ahmed, Kurenai Oni, Abdullah, Killerhackman, Raul Jr, Dark Light 2013, Arthur Emil Gaming Bishop, and Kiltastic Jones. There! Finally! I remembered to do it at the beginning of the show. And my cat is begging me for food if you hear him meow, even though he ate extra this morning. So you shouldn't be hungry. Don't. There he goes. All right. This last week, patch 4.1 has been the big topic, so I'm fully expecting to have to answer a lot of questions about patch 4.1 here in the weekly Q&A show. So let's get right to it, and then we'll get to the Twitch questions once we're done on the forums. All right, question number one. This is question number one. Yes, it is. Good morning, Haps. Kiltastic Jones here, coming in first for once. Hope you had a great week. I did have a good week. Got two questions. If you consider doing a big event question and answer show with the 4 Horsemen, open up a forum thread for a few weeks to collect questions for Tuesdays with the Horsemen. Yeah, we've considered doing a few things like that. We're coming up on our 3rd year in a few months, so we were considering doing something along those lines for that, so please look forward to it. Too, I really appreciate your Battle Chasers review and look forward to playing it. I wouldn't have heard about the game without your hype videos. I'm wondering what's next on that front for you. I'm actually playing Warframe right now. I started playing Warframe yesterday, just in my spare time, waiting for League of Legends Worlds to start that evening. And I streamed it today, and it's been great. I've been having a lot of fun with Warframe. Final Fantasy XV Comrades is up next. As for RPGs that I plan to play, if I'm thinking of indie ones, there's a Souls-like that's coming out, I guess sometime next year. I don't know when. And it's literally just bosses. I believe it's called Sinner: Sacrifice for Redemption. That's another little indie game that I'm really looking forward to, especially because it's a boss-only Souls-style game with, like, no trash in between. Trying to remember if I feel like there's another one. And then there's Dot Hack in November, which I'm considering, but I'm not 100% sure because I don't think I'll have the audacity to finish all of the chapters. So it may not be worth it. Final Fantasy XV Comrades on October 30th. You have Lost Sphere in January. You have Dissidia in January. There's a lot of things in January. There's a lot of games, and I'm really looking forward to a lot of them. But right now, Warframe has been what I'm on right now. And I might do a video about it on YouTube just to let people know about it, give people an idea about it, and it's been good so far. So hopefully that answers your question. All right, question number 2. Hey, Happy. Hey. During the live letter translation, they mentioned cross-server link shells. Would you set up one to further reach out? Oh, absolutely. I'm 100% doing a cross-server link shell. The only concern is it is cross-server, but it's not cross-game, which is, I guess, probably asking for a little much for the way their infrastructure works. But at least everyone on Ether will be able to join it, yes. And I'm going to have to, and at that point, I have to assign, like, officers and stuff like that because it's going to get hectic, I have a feeling. So, yeah, no, absolutely. I am 100% doing an Ether link shell, at least. The Primal one I wouldn't be on as much. I could do it, but I don't know how well it would work. We'll see. I'll leave the Primal one up for debate. All right, number 3. Hey, Happy. 1. There was talk of 4.x series going longer than 4.5. What is your opinion on the matter? As long as 4.6 and 4.7 follow at least the basics of the formula, with 4.6 being another 8-man Savage raid tier, 4.7 being Ultimate in the 24-mans, I'm totally for it, especially because of the raids involved, specifically the Ivalice raids. I feel like there's maybe room to do more of them than just 3. That being said, I don't really have an opinion of which one would be better over the other. New expansions are exciting, but it does feel like they get more interesting and innovative in the patches following an expansion's launch. Like 4.2 is going to have Eureka. We're going to have a new deep dungeon with a completely different set of rules. We've gotten the hidden canals of Uznair. We get things like Rival Wings and Ultimate, and those don't come with expansion launches. Those come after expansion launches. So maybe extending the patch cycle before the next expansion leads to more content that's interesting like that, as opposed to less content where it's, you know, 2 primals, a dungeon, yada yada yada, like it is for an expansion launch. So one or the other could actually be good. I think I might actually lean a little bit saw Aloha leaving a little bit towards the latter, as a matter of fact. And 2, do you think if they extend the 4.x series significantly, they plan on adding a new job? No, I don't think so, but I think that if they do, it gives them more time to develop the job and maybe get feedback on it. From doing events like media tours or something like that. I don't know. It might lead to something a little bit more well-rounded. Perhaps. I could, you know, who knows with the way balance is at times, so who knows. Alright, number 4. Hello, Mr. Happy. As you can see, the population of each server has increased and every plots are now taken. What's your opinion on the matter of housing? I actually did a full video on the matter of housing because it's crazy. We know we're getting new wards in patch 4.2. I think they ultimately, just to shorthand the answer, since I've done a lot of talks about it in some recent videos, they definitely need to make houses account bound as opposed to character bound, so you can't have one person on one account buying 8 houses on a server, or even just buying more than one personal house, one personal, one free company. That's fair. And then instance housing, we have it in the form of apartments, which could be expanded upon to make it more interesting or a more viable option. Bigger than they are, able to be upgraded, would probably be something that I would look for in that case. But those are just generally a couple of things that I think that could help with the housing situation, instead of just adding more wards that are going to get bought up immediately, and then we get the posts talking about how bullshit it is. I think that would definitely be best. And I do have plans, actually, the next time I speak with Yoshida, to at least have one housing related question. All right, number 5. How you doing, Senor Felice? Now, how you doing? How you doing? You doing all right? You doing all right? Posting this before the patch hits tomorrow. Just want to know your take on the patch 1 week later. All right, so basically, before the patch even drops, you're asking me about the patch. All right. What's on your short list of favorite quality of life additions? I haven't even messed with the UI stuff, but that has... I messed with it very little, and I was happy with it, but I haven't messed with it too much. That's probably my favorite thing, is the breaking up of the bars. Now we just need to be able to break up HP, MP, and TP and disable them. So like if a job doesn't use MP at all, I want to be able to disable MP. It shouldn't be on my user interface. Were the job changes enough? For Summoner and Scholar, they were really good. Summoner, it was more like an ease of play thing. Summoners who were playing before, it's about the same for them, other than Dreadworm Trance and Tribind obviously being an AoE situation. Dragoon's changes achieved the desired effect. They didn't like super buff them. In fact, a little bit, it's a little weird from what Dragoons tell me. Apparently only having 3 eyes for Nashron, it lines up with certain things better from your party buffs. However, for your personal buffs, it starts creating issues for lining up with your own, like Blood for Blood, for example. So I don't know exactly. I haven't played them, but a Summoner may need a second impressions video. And 2, and then finally, how does 4.1 compare to 3.1? So 3.1 had a lot more content volume, but the content volume was not of good quality. Obviously, the Diadem, I spent a lot of time in there in the first week or so, and it had lasting implications for gathering, especially, but it was Diadem. Like, come on. Verminion, same deal. Verminion was just a waste right from the get-go. I got my achievements in that, and I was done. Thornton was great. I think Thornton was better than Shinryu, and obviously we had one more dungeon there. It definitely split up a little bit more, but I'll say this. The 4.1 main scenario quests were significantly better than almost all the main scenario quests that weren't either expansion launches or expansion finales. It was definitely the most well-rounded, just straight up story patch that isn't the beginning or end of an expansion. So that was a major increase in quality. As for the quality of the other things, I definitely feel like the quality is higher, but it's about content. If we're just talking about content volume, 3.1 was definitely bigger. With Ultimate coming out in about a week at this point, and then with Rival Wings a little bit later, it starts to match the content volume we had before, but it doesn't get there all the way because they tried to it felt like they really, really wanted to push this patch out at the rate that players expected it. If they had taken another month, we may have had these things on the launch of 4.1, and Eureka may have been 4.15 with just that 1 month delay of the initial patch. I think a lot of people aren't factoring in that after developing the expansion, they then are trying to push this patch ahead a month so people will be pleased with the patch scheduling being 3.5 months like it usually is. And I think that costs them a lot. And I think it's not being played to enough. That being said, I still feel like they probably would have held off Rival Wings for like another few weeks, even if they did push this patch back a month. So it's really hard to say precisely. But it's overall the quality of what's there, I feel like, is higher, but the content volume is absolutely lower, and it's being staggered. All right, number 6. Hey, Haps, how you doing? You doing all right? Look, you doing all right? I'm doing all right, too. Jiren is OP. Yeah. And again, because at this point, I'm answering this, and there's been another episode of Super. Yeah. My question for you this week is about Ultimate. When they first announced Ultimate, they constantly compared it to Second Coil Savage. I know where this is going. While it was difficult, it wasn't super difficult. I feel like we've had harder fights since. Yeah. A3 Savage. I'd rank higher. 8, to me, turn 8 Savage is still the best. Aloha, please. But now they keep making all these statements like, if you can't get past the first phase, then get the fuck out. It's not too late to turn back. And honestly, it's annoying. I love a challenge, a hype for Ultimate, but those constant comments make me feel like I'll have no chance in hell. I feel like they are overplaying it, but at the same time, I consider those more banter warnings than legit warnings. They want players to understand they don't want to hear shit if it's too hard. They want to push the envelope. They've also straight up said it's scaled to item level 340. They expect you to have materia. Your base health is probably not enough to survive most of the AoEs or mechanics. So that means they're taking materia and extra vitality and food and pots all into their calculations for this one. So it really wants to put you to the ultimate test, as the term ultimate goes. I feel like they're overhyping it. I do think they're probably overhyping it a bit. But at the same time, it will be a fight where if you are not fully prepared for what you're dealing with, you may still end up progging it in 3.3. Who knows? With the extra gear, maybe that's what makes your decision there. Maybe you end up doing it in 3.3 when you're above the minimum item level for it, which is around 340-ish. All right, number 7. Hey, Hap, since the joke bonus thing is overplayed, Miqo'te facts you can't really disapprove. Because you're wondering why Miqo'te. I play one. That's why. I didn't wonder. Now I know, though. Miqo'te Dragoons. Pick Dragoon, because it's the closest thing we have to in-game pouncing. There you go. It's a Miqo'te fact. Now you know. Let's see. Miqo'te Dragoon. Okay, so this question was originally about something else, not in the game yet. So any idea where I could solo farm light for my relic weapon? I guess I can't answer it properly, because I don't know if you mean Zodiac or Anima. Even then, oh man, it's been so long. I know people do. I don't remember if it was for Zodiac or if it was for Anima lights, where people would farm like Ifrit normal, like level 20 Ifrit normal. I think that's Zodiac lights. People farm like Total Rock or Ifrit normal. For Anima lights, there are still, I think it's A1 Savage or A9 Savage groups that do that. I know that some people still do them, but for solo, I don't know. I don't know what you would solo for the Anima lights. I don't know. I haven't kept up. There are people who know. I don't know what people are soloing, though, because I don't think they're soloing A1 Savage, even if it is unsynced. So I don't know. Unfortunately, those A1 and A9 are the only two that I know that people did. I don't know about soloing, though. Then let's see. Stupid question. Am I a bad player? All right, hold on. There's context here. That's the overlying theme here. I have no desire to do Savage at all. Rewards don't feel worth. I don't feel like I even need to get better. It's apparently good enough to get 4 commendations on O2 normal playing as Samurai. I don't know if it's just content. I mean, it's just because you don't care about doing hard content doesn't automatically make you a bad player. There's no causation to correlation there, especially if your reason's not that you don't think you're good enough. But this is a question that's unanswerable at the same time, because there's no reference point. Like, yeah, O2 normal, great. No one cares about O2 normal. You know, that's not a reference point for a good player. Now, if you're doing like 5.5k DPS on O2 normal, then I would probably trust that if you went into Savage, at least you would have the DPS rotation down, and it'd be more about whether or not you did mechanics. At least you'd have that aspect of your job down. So that's really the only gauge, but there's not really a set I guess an example here where I could be like, yeah, that. So I need numbers or an actual situation. 3, why'd they take away that one skill monks had that was just for AoEing things down, when you could spam without being 50 plus or use another skill first? You mean Arm of the Destroyer? Arm of the Destroyer is still there. You would just never use it for AoEing without doing anything else. Ever. Forever. Yeah, no, you're talking about Arm of the Destroyer, and that is definitely still there. All right. For any reason my question is in the thumbnail for last week? No, I don't. Whatever thumbnail it picks is the thumbnail it gets. All right, number 8. Hey, Mr. Happy, first time poster. Here's 2,000 of the inevitable next batch of Algon Tomestones. Yes. Yoshida. The next ones will be Yoshida. They won't. My question is about the state of 14. I've heard talks of being one of the lowest login periods. That's, I don't know where you're getting that, because it's, when you have that many subscribers, I don't know where you're getting the login. Look at, well, I'm trying to answer questions. You're distracting everyone. All right. Let's see. The reason is the lack of meaningful content. I don't know where the lowest login periods is coming from. I don't think we have that data anywhere, so I don't know where you would even get that from. But hey, most subscribers at any point in the game's lifespan means currently most successful. Business-wise, no one cares about concurrent logins. You care about how much money it's bringing in, and that it's doing the most of right now. Yeah, 3.1 was atrocious for logins. Awful. Not only did we wait 5 months, but the shit sucked. So, yeah. What is your take on this? If the game is really on a decline, I don't think it is. I think that one thing they do need to get better at is expansions need to launch with just not the baseline stuff. It's stuff that we all know that we do, we enjoy, and it's been part of the cycle for ages. But when you start, when Eureka and Ultimate and all this cool sounding stuff is not till later, you run a risk. What you're hoping is people stay subbed or they will resub when that content comes out, because that's the stuff they're waiting for, and some people just don't unsub when they're waiting for content. You also run the risk of people just not being interested in it by the time it comes out. I think they need to start, like, canals are good, but not a lot of people do canals. So they need stuff like a deep dungeon or a relic grind. They need to prioritize those and get them in the expansions early, or at least make sure they're on point for 4.1, and that is a priority over things like squadrons, for example, which are fun to do, but ultimately not super great unless you're a newer player, in which case they could be fantastic for leveling up your alternate jobs. So I think that that's something they need to work on going forward. That being said, the game's got the most subscribers ever had right now, so I'll go with the numbers, man. That's the easy one. All right, question number 9. Hey, guy. Oh, I know who this is now. Before the patch, we recently had a free company member clean out our chest of valuables. This is why, dude, free companies just never leave your chest open to everybody, man. Giggity. It's a bit demoralizing since there's at least 15 million guild lost. I think they jumped servers. We restricted our 3rd tab guild. Yes. Free companies always learn this the hard way. Always restrict tabs and make it so that the public tab, anybody who's taking something out of it, is only someone who had general permissions to put stuff in. And all the tabs with important shit, people have to be told to put them in the tabs of important shit that people can't get access to. Every free company learns this the hard way first, because they're too nice and they're too trusting, and they don't realize it till they get fucked, and they always get fucked. Luckily, 15 million is not a whole lot depending on the size of your free company, but it's still something, and it's just, yeah, and that's all there is to it. Is there something worthy of filing a support ticket? No. I mean, it's annoying, and maybe you could try, but I don't think they're going to realistically do anything about this, because you have the capabilities as a free company. If you give someone permission to a tab, they have game permissions to empty that tab. You've given them that permission, and that's what the GMs are most likely going to tell you. What advice can you offer to prevent such a thing? Never leave your free company chest open to everyone on every tab. Anything that's important, put it in locked tabs. And make sure people have to earn the right to trust for those tabs. They have to, like, be around for 6 months, 9 months. So the odds of them emptying it out are super low. Just don't, or if it's something important, tell them trade it to somebody who has access, and they'll do it. Because never fucking leave that shit open to everyone. Never, 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 never. All right, number 10. Oi. Oi. I know it's that, but still. Question for this week. Where's our Final Fantasy XIII raid? I don't want one. Man, the closest thing I got to a Final Fantasy XIII raid was when I bought it and then returned it. Anyway, so I forgot it was mentioned. Pay tribute before asking questions. So presenting Halicarnassus Ultimate, whereas the sliding puzzle has been replaced with Blitzball. All right, number 11. Good day, Mr. Happy. Since it's my first post, I'll give you the ability to jump ahead of any line you're in. Any line? Well, there's a line at the pizza place. I'll use it on the pizza place. TLDR, should free company workshops be separated from free company housing? TLDA. Yes. Wait, TLDA. TL don't answer. That doesn't make sense. I tried to make a joke. See, yes, they absolutely should. Free company housing should not in any way be tied to free company crafting. I get it. You want the house to have a purpose. But it's another reason why the housing situation is shit. What do you make with that? That's even fucking worth it. Okay, so to be fair, it might keep certain items there competitive in price. It doesn't, by the way. It also means that the components for it can generally be expensive on the market when housing, specifically new housing wards, become available. New free companies buy houses, and then they actually get into that, and then they need the materials, so it keeps the market alive for those. That being said, it's part of the reason why not getting a house when those housing rushes happen is such a big problem. Why people care about it so much, and why people want free company housing separated from personal housing, so that way that doesn't happen in the first place. Granted, I know people who make free companies on alts just to buy even more houses, so who the fuck will be surprised by that anyway? No, I don't think it should. That's the answer, because I'll attempt to keep it short, but there's a lot of text here, so it's not short. My answer, though, is yes, I believe they should be separated. All right, number 12. Hey, Haps, how you doing this fine week? I'm doing good. I'm doing good like always. Surprised you thought my question was a real question. No, it's a joke question. Well, text doesn't... You gotta type /S if it's sarcasm. This is /S for me now. There you go. The real question here. Yeah, you talked about Dark last week needing a bit of a fix. My main is Dark. I love the skill level needed to properly play the job in 3.x. Was wondering two things. One, let me just proceed this by saying I'm not a Dark Knight expert, so most of my opinion is based on what more experienced Dark Knights have told me, and therefore I could be wrong. Okay, do you think if they can bring any fix to Dark Knight, is there a chance they up the skill level of the job? No. Okay, that's actually something I can answer. I don't think they want to do that with any job, if we've seen that from what they've done with Summoner and Dragoon. They want the skill gap. At the very least, if they're going to increase the skill level, they got to increase the skill floor as well, because they're trying to lower the gap between the best of players and the worst of players in any way they can. So that way, even the worst of player is still at least capable of bringing enough. It's not working. That being said, it's not working, but they're trying to do that. So I don't think that they would up the difficulty of playing the job, at least not intentionally, with what they're trying to do right now with the games for the job. And two, do you think they'll ever make another job with the level of skill needed to play it? I think, you know, there are some jobs that got more complicated initially on Stormblood's launch. I don't think that they won't do it, especially when Samurai was brand new and everyone was trying to min-max that. That being said, it's not that they won't, it's that like I said, if they do, it needs to have as high of a skill floor as it has a ceiling. And both of them need to be higher. Are they capable of that? I don't know. I'm not convinced. So I'm going to say no. Alright, number 13. Hey, Hap, so I leveled my Chocobo's healing tree to the max, got the White Mage barding, and then tried to do the same with tank and DPS trees, but neither of the bardings appeared. Is there a way to get the other two? Did you get to max rank? So, okay. Did you just respec your Chocobo? Because that won't work. In order to get the other bardings, you now need to level your Chocobo past rank 10 to the point where you have enough points to fully max out the other trees with the skill points that you get. So if you're just trying to respec trick, it's not going to work, I don't believe. You're going to need to just level them past the cap using Thavnarian onions and getting their skill points the old-fashioned way. I'm 99% sure of that because I remember thinking the same thing you thought when my Chocobo got to rank 10. And by the way, you also can't even max all three trees right now, apparently. At rank 20, you have 9, 10, and 10. I didn't know that. But I'm just reading my Twitch chat right now, and that's what they're telling me. So, you can have 2 bardings, so until... Why the fuck would they do it that way? Square Enix, put a rank 21 on the Chocobo so we can finish those points, please. I'd like to rescind my previous comment. Apparently, you can get all 3, so I just wanted to say that before we moved on. I was taking my Twitch chat's word for it, and the rest of the Twitch said, no, you can have all 3 at rank 20. There you go. Alright, so anyway, next question. Hello, Mr. Happy. No bonus. I hope you're well. This question is in regards to the recent video about housing. I have a few proposals, and I'd like to hear your thoughts. So these like my thoughts were in that video. So I'll what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I'll read this, but generally I like to avoid that because if everyone just presents me an idea of what are thoughts, but sometimes these could be good. Fully agree. Some of the things. Just me. Also, please break it up. This is a lot of text all in one. I'm trying to skim through it and it's not working. First suggestion, allow hearts between multiple characters. Okay, I said that in the other video. Like just to put a lock on people who can purchase housing. Someone like the character must be level 50, complete all. There is a lock on it, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you do need to have a level 50 character who's done the 2.0 main scenario quest to purchase a personal house. I know there's a restriction of some kind. You can't just take a level 1 character and purchase purchase a house. I'm pretty sure of that. I'm like mostly sure you can't just take, I don't know what it is, but I'm like really just trying to buy time until my Twitch chat lets me know. Okay, I had to be honest with that one right there. I'm just like this, like Twitch chat, tell me tell me I'm right. Tell me. Well, there's the quest, but that it's a quest. There's a quest. Okay. There's a quest? It must be level 50 and second lieutenant in your Grand Cup. So that's already there. Thank you. Thank you. I bought enough time. Okay. So yeah, there already is a requirement like that. You underestimate the people who make multiple characters. There's also jump potions now. So they just need to do the Grand... Does the jump potion give you Grand Company rank? I don't know if it does, but either way, you underestimate the people who buy with multiple characters. They are hardcore. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. Housing trading. And you always be an issue. Scrum Brazers trading. So the problem is if you allow trading, then people just do it more. They just sell the house. Unless Square Enix makes it so if you're gonna sell a house, if they like do it. But here's the thing. Even if Square Enix introduced an official trade system in the game, people would just not initiate the trade unless they had charged an extra 50, 100 mil off to the side before doing the trade itself. So even if you gave them an in-game function to safely trade the house, people wouldn't sell it without a premium before even initiating it. So that doesn't really achieve much. So the ideas are all well, the intention is good, but unfortunately with people are assholes, and so they would ruin it. So even your ideas they would ruin. And also one of them was already kind of in place. So yeah. All right, number 15. Hi, Haps, and 4.1 is the worst. Why? Mainly thanks to housing. That's right. I don't know how I didn't pick that up before reading on. Rabinaster, everyone plays on gambits and fails because 14 has no gambit. I like that. Rabinaster really feels like Final Fantasy XII, and all of your 23 teammates just forgot to set their gambits. I love that. Okay. Anyway, all right, to fix housing completely, I just did a housing question, so let's do the second one. All right, a Dragoon question. Does Battle Litany also affect healing cells? Yeah, it's critical hit rate, so it should increase the... I mean, it's just flat critical hit rate, so yeah, your heals should crit more. But why are you casting heals? Just DPS. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, no, I'm pretty sure that's also the case, because it's just crit rate, and crit rate is crit rate, and that's it. All right, number 16. Hey, Mr. Happy. Final Sim here, and welcome to Mondays with Mr. Happy, the weekly Q&A show where we ask you questions and you answer them. 1. Is it a good method to farm glaze and twine using the hunt? It is a method. As long as you need a lot of them, the hunt is pretty good for it. Centurio seals come from the majority... Well, no, they come from all of the hunts, whereas the allied seals only came from the A Realm Reborn hunts. So, yeah, and even including just filtering in, like, the weekly hunt or even just the daily hunts if you don't find yourself doing much else because you're only concerned with waiting for hunts. No, yeah, it's absolutely, especially with, in addition to Rabinaster. Yeah, definitely a good option if you're able to get to the hunts in time. Join a hunt link shell for that one, and it gets a lot easier. Or actually be the one out there looking for the hunts, because that's how you guarantee nobody beats you there, is by you going out there and finding them and then telling the other people that they're out there. There you go. How do you place a Shinryu Extreme fight? Okay, that's actually kind of the first time I got that question. I got asked earlier if I thought 3.1 was better or if I thought it was worse. This is a more direct question. I think Shinryu Extreme is okay. I think that it's not as good as Thornton, and honestly, I even prefer Sephiroth a little bit. It's really close. Like, day by day, I think about Shinryu and I think about Sephiroth, and I keep, like, mixing up my rankings with them. But Shinryu's first phase is really the highlight of the fight. His second and third phase are not. His second phase is the ad phase, which we're already used to, but this one's far more intense. I'd say it's a pretty well done ad phase, but when I think of intense ad phases, I also think of Sephiroth. When Sephiroth first came out, people had a hard time with the explosions that came out of those ads, and it was definitely something I had fun initially progressing on. More fun than I had, at least, with Shinryu's ad phase. Then for the third phase, I thought the third phase was kind of disappointing. It's basically a tank buster, the chain mechanic, the Hypernova 11 bolt, and then just heal because he's just auto attacking pretty much. Because the worm whale, even if you that don't do the donut strat and you get the infirmity debuff, or if you even get hit by Benighting Breath, it doesn't matter because he's not really doing anything after that. And the damage itself isn't really lethal. Sephiroth also had the advantage, not really, of being unrecoverable. If you died, if you were knocked off the arena, that was it for you on Sephiroth, and that could really screw you over. And I don't think that was very well designed about Sephiroth, but Shinryu's last phase, and then it ends at like 23%. He goes into like a Zentetsuken style thing. I don't know. Shinryu's last phase could have been far more interesting. You're on the same platform as him, and he's just like, yeah, I'm too good to swing my claws. Fuck you. Fuck you. My wings are doing everything. Aloha. My wings are good enough. I'm standing on the same platform as you. I could just step on you. No. My wings, they're enough. Fuck it. Yeah, last phase could have been a lot better. All right, number 17. Hey, yo, just one question that's static related. So I'm curious if you have any tips for finding an advanced or high skill static. Unfortunately, the easiest way to find a high skill static is to just put yourself in the party finder and display high skill. A lot of the times you'll find in the party finder, if you're someone who can display a high amount of skill, you might get recruited, because a lot of the times free companies that do weekly clears, they'll do them in the party finder with like maybe like 4 or 5 members on the side, or sometimes you'll find one that's 7 people just looking for a fill, and then they go, wow, this guy's really good, should we permanently recruit him? My morning static that runs weekly now, that's how we recruited the majority of our people. We had like 5 set people on the first week, and we've had to rotate a few people because some people we tried to recruit and then it wouldn't really work out. But that's how we ended up trying to recruit people. If somebody did good enough to beat the fight, we'd then invite them back in next week and see if they can perform consistently, and then we do the same. And then, you know, that's how we found one of our tanks that we have right now, and that's how we found one of our DPS, and it's that's how we found it. So I'd have to kind of recommend that for other people. It sucks because it's still up to whether or not you actually join a group that gets you any sort of reputation of being a high skilled player. But at the very least, if you're able to prove yourself in party finders with high numbers or good performances, whether it be tanking or healing or DPS, doesn't matter, that acts as fuel. Because if you do try to go to like Reddit's recruitment forum, or the main threads recruitment threads, or the main forums recruitment threads, having that information to back up your recruitment helps a lot. And was that the whole question? Helps with... Oh, you main tanks. Okay. Mostly Dark Knight, but can play all 3. Right now, statics are being assholes to Dark Knights. Even though Dark Knights are okay, they're just not as good as... They're not nearly as good as Warrior and Paladin. So it's good that you can play all 3, because that's also an asset if you can play any of the tanks. Number 18. Hello, Mr. Happy. I hope you're doing well. Oh, you had to bring up TSM again. Why? Why would you bring up... Listen, C9 made it through. Okay, C9 made it through. Fnatic had a god run. Misfits is in there for about 5 more seconds, because that's how long it'll take SKT to win 3 games against Misfits, even with their current shaky form. So as you guess, it's that time of week again where I ask you about your updated predictions about War. So the good news is, last week I said I wasn't confident about TSM making it out of groups, and then TSM didn't make it out of groups. So at least I didn't say, oh, TSM's a shoo-in. I don't look like that big of an idiot. So, good to see that my predictions weren't entirely inaccurate. Aloha. What are you... Aloha. You've been fed already. Stop. Personally, I came in with 0 expectations for the European teams after a horrible performance at Rift Rivals. Seeing 2 teams advance blew all my predictions away. Fnatic, literally a miracle. Misfits, TSM. What else do I really have to say about Misfits? G2 put up a really good week 2 performance, and if their week 1 was good, they'd be through right now. So they're the only team that suffered from their week 1 to the point where it was unrecoverable, because then they were good enough to win 2 of the 3 matches in the second week. That wasn't good enough to put them in a position where they could even get to a tiebreaker. So they just had to do slightly better on week 1 to at least, well, they would have gotten through at the very least. So yeah, Europe really showed up big on week 2. And you know what? That's the meme. Europe always shows up big on the second week, and NA always goes home on the second week. Luckily, Cloud9 made it through, but they're up against WE. And WE, so let's do quarterfinals. WE versus Cloud9. That is the closest quarterfinal that we have here. If they ban Caitlyn, I think they can just roll over WE. I think that Caitlyn was too integral to WE's strategies And then and Sneaky has shown he can perform on it too. It should be contested. It's likely to be banned by red side every game because it might be first pick worthy at this point over the Janna and over the Lulu. But only because it has been the core of WE's week 2 strategy. And I don't know if I trust them to perform, but at the same time, I don't know if I trust Cloud9 to perform without a set strategy going a certain way. But that was Cloud9's second best, actually that was Cloud9's best hope of getting into semifinals, was to get put against WE. I can't call that game though. SKT versus Misfits, not a chance. Royal Never Give Up versus, who's Royal Never Give Up? Oh, Fnatic. Royal Never Give Up's looked really fucking good. I know that there was some shakiness a little bit, but listen, Fnatic made a miracle run to get to quarters. If they beat Royal Never Give Up, holy shit, that will be the most legendary thing. But I've got Royal Never Give Up in that. And then Longzhu versus, who's Longzhu even up against? I don't even remember who Longzhu's gonna win. It doesn't matter. Longzhu's gonna win the whole fucking tournament. It doesn't matter. SKT's not gonna win. Longzhu's gonna win. I'm calling that in the long run. SKT, you're not gonna have fucking 20 skins in the game by the time this tournament's over. Actually, more because of the sub roster thing. Oh, it's versus Samsung Galaxy. Yeah. Yeah, Samsung Galaxy is the worst looking Korean team. Honestly, even looking worse than SKT, even though SKT has led the worst early game of the 3. Yeah, Longzhu is going to fucking annihilate Samsung, and then Longzhu is going to go through to win the whole thing. So those are what my expectations look like. C9's close. Fnatic, no way they win. Misfits, why even show up? Longzhu, Samsung, just go home now. We'll see you next season. And then it's gonna be SKT and Longzhu, most likely. I think Royal Never Give Up has a chance of beating SKT in the semis, but SKT best of 5 buff. I don't know. That's a tough call. All right, number 19. Hey, Haps, hope you're enjoying 4.1. I have. My squadrons are level 55, 56-ish, around that area. I've cleared Rabbinaster, but like all 24-mans, I find it hard to see mechanics and AoEs because the amount of stuff going on. This is why I turn off other people's effects, because that shit gets obnoxious. Even in 8-mans, I don't like it. In 24-mans, it's ridiculous. I set myself to all effects and my teammates to limited, and anyone else, nothing. Remember hearing you turn off effects? Yeah. Listen, it will absolutely help you. Do it. And it is possible in the PS4. It's in your character configuration. You just have to find the character effects. It should be in one of the very first tabs in one of the columns there. So yeah, definitely do that. All right, number 20. Hello, Mr. Happy. Happy 4.1. Happy 4.1 to you too. I hope you are enjoying the new content. I was lucky to get a house. Not the lot I wanted, but good enough. My free company could not move our medium-sized place. Got a few questions. After a few groups, I completed the new 24-man. What I noticed was the quantity of players that assumed day 1 early afternoon that everyone should know the fight. Dude, welcome to MMOs. And welcome even more specifically to Final Fantasy XIV. My experience, I went in with 7 people who hadn't done it yet, and 16 people, and then I party finder the other 16 of people who were in my stream. And some of them had done it, and most of them hadn't. We had a wipe on Mateus, a wipe on Heshmal, and a wipe on the final boss, and we were fine. You know, it wasn't that big of a deal. All of us kind of understood that, but I'm the one streaming, and I'm the one who invited these other 16 people, plus the other 7 people that were in the primary party. So, it might be that alone makes people kind of a little more courteous, but I've watched a lot of streams, and I've even done some with just the Alliance roulette. Yeah, it happens. Yeah. No, the community's not deteriorating. The community's the people who are... The more people you have playing, the more assholes you're going to encounter. The more people you have in an individual instance who you have no idea who they are, the more people you're likely to run into who you don't like. And that's just going to happen with 24-mans, with people trying to get it done and get out, especially when they're trying to farm it over and over again for loot. I'm not too surprised. By early afternoon, some people had already done it 5-6 times because they're just trying to get that loot piece that they want. My only piece of advice, don't join in progress. And 2, when riding mounts, the animations are different between my tall Highlander and my Miqo'te. For example, in the Goku Cloud, the Highlander is just sitting on it while the cat is standing. Do you know if that's because of race or height? It's because of race. Every different race has their own sitting animation for mounts. That's true of other mounts as well. The Cloud Mount is one example, but there are other mounts in which case, like a Lalafell, regardless of the whole height difference, that's usually why it's designed that way, sort of, but it's by race because the races have a height range And so it would look ridiculous if a Lalafell sat on it the same way as a Rogadin. So yeah, it's why it's a race related thing. All right, and the last question on the forums. No, actually, this is the second last question on the forums. Hello, Mr. Happy. It's not my first question, so I'm just going to jump right into the questions, keeping that one-time bonus an actual one-time bonus. Okie dokie. Been Bard main ever since 2.0, and the job itself has had its ups and downs. Lately, I take a break from 14 to focus on other stuff, but I came back for 4.1, noticing some frustration about how Bard handles procs. Lately, I've tested out both in the new raid. Can't seem to get a single straighter shot proc. Oh, man. Oh, well, you've encountered the curse of trying to do Barrage Refulgent Arrow. Yeah, a lot of bards are familiar with the Barrage Refulgent Arrow rules. Generally, with the way your opener works, is you try for a few Refulgent Arrows, and then as soon as you don't get it by the time you get to the Imperial, then you end up barraging the Imperial because you don't want to sit on Barrage for very long. And then you always get a Refulgent proc as soon as you use Imperial Arrow. It's great. Yeah. Is there something they do behind the scenes to make proc harder? No. It's just a proc is a proc. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. It's unfortunate. Yeah. Refulgent Arrow. That's a fun skill in your opener when it happens. It's great. And now is the last question on the forums. Happy howdy, Mr. Happy. It's been a while since I feel like I've had to say that. So I have 4 years and still houseless. Would really like a place to put my collected outdoor furnishings, or even a mod garden area would suffice. Questions for the roulette. Okay, there's only 2, so you've literally expert rouletted me. You've literally Heavensward expert rouletted me here. So it's future past and future. Let's see. Do you think La Habrea's origin will be explained since he is from our shard? You know, it would be interesting to get some more direct information. One thing about the Ascians is a lot of the times there are mortal shells that are now being used to do Zodiark's bidding, which means that at some point in history, each one of them did have a life that they could usually refer back to. And we know very little about any of those past lives, which is why Ethis is currently making a prediction about Fordola that she could potentially be turned into an Ascian due to her unique abilities. That being said, yeah, no, well, all we know is he was gifted with the Echo before becoming an Ascian, and something happened along his way that he fell into Zodiark's grand scheme. I actually think that not just La Habrea, I think it would be nice to explore the histories of all of them, even the Ascians that have been lost in the main scenario, that have been defeated. I'd like to know more about them, because it would definitely not only build our shard, but build kind of what the Ascians went through to become who they are. You know how every year they do like tales of the something for the Rising? One year I would like to do tales of the Ascians or something like that. You know, that we get this information a little bit more in the forefront, or put it in the lore book when they do another one. Yeah, no, good question. But anyway, that's going to be the last question from the forums. I'm going to grab a few from the Twitch chat real quick. So let's get into that. Twitch chat, ask away. All right, so the first question we have from the Twitch chat comes in from Sitten Vandel. Thoughts on dual roles for multi-spec classes in the future? So I'm always for that, because you don't need to make skill trees to have multiple roles or multiple specs for a single job. So if they continue designing it the way they do now, where you're given a job and it goes through and this is what its role is, and your customization is just in role actions and whatever. And, you know, maybe you make it so like Paladin has a DPS spec, like a legit one where, you know, it's focused primarily on offensive skills and not on holding aggro, and you change some of their skills around, and you make it so their role actions are switched to DPS role actions. I'm cool with that. Why I never think it's going to happen is because it's basically the equivalent of designing another job. Yes, you can carry skills over and change their effects, but doing that for one job means you have to do it for all the jobs, which currently is 15 jobs, and I don't think they'll ever do that. I think they're more likely to try to capture a different type of fantasy for a new job where, you know, every different Final Fantasy job has this sort of theme and role behind it, and I think they're more likely to do that than they are to ever introduce a second spec for an existing job. I'm okay with the idea. I like it because it's cool to be able to do that in a game. Well, even just going to probably not a great example, Wildstar. You know, when I got like level 10, I could choose. I had a stance that was going to make me, you know, generate more aggro and shields, and I had a stance that was going to make me do more damage. And then I could, you know, and then I had my skills that I could, you know, use effectively either or. It was nice. Even if you just take the customization aspect away from it, that was a cool thing to be able to do. I just don't think they'll ever do it. All right, the other question we have from the chat, and I think I'm going to make this the only other one that I take from the chat this week, is about Warframe. I mentioned it earlier in the stream, and I was streaming it earlier, and I had this question maybe 2, 3, 4 times in the chat while I was looking for other questions, and it was, what do you think of it so far? So Warframe is a game I've actually been meaning to hop onto. Sly played it on the PS4, and he highly recommended it to me. So I really wanted to give it a shot because I felt like it was a cool game. It reminded me of like Destiny, but you're a ninja and it's actually fun. So, sorry, I had to do it. I've been doing it all day, and it's fun. That's it. It's like I'm super relaxed when I'm playing it. I'm getting a lot done when I'm playing it. I can craft items, and then I can do stuff while crafting items. So even though I'm grinding constantly, which is literally Warframe the game, it's like you just grind. You grind materials, you grind this, you grind that, you grind this. You craft something, you go grind something else. You craft something else, you go grind something else. You do this mission, you do that mission, you do this, you go to the Plains of Eidolon, which is now out, you do the bounty, and it's just, there's a shit ton of things to grind while your crafts are back home taking care of the things that you actually want to get as items. And it's fun. The only concern I have is there going to be a point where I hit a wall where it's not fun? And I haven't encountered that yet, but I've only played it for about, I guess, between the stream today, which was about 3.5 hours, plus the 3 or 4 hours. But yeah, I'll say about 7.5, 8 hours so far. So I'm far from hitting that point. And you know what? It's a game where I'm playing it and I'm having fun, and I'm thinking, I would be okay spending money on this right now. I'm going to wait till it's absolutely crucial for me to feel that way, though, because I don't feel like I should be spending money just yet. And I don't want to be completely overpowered to all these missions, because then I feel like it's going to ruin the spirit of the game. So, which just didn't work well today during stream, because all the people who wanted to play with me were all like maxed out frames and shit. So that didn't exactly work the way that I wanted to. That being said, it was still fun getting to play with other people, and we just went up and did some of the harder missions where I was actually at risk, and they were, I may be at risk, probably not. It was fun though, and that's the best thing I could say about it right now. 14, I'm playing it, and I'm having fun with the things I'm working on. I am working on my MGP. I am working on my Kojin B-Stripes. I am working on my Squadrons, which has been more fun than I anticipated. Even though it's kind of meaningless, I've just been having fun doing it, like maybe an hour of dungeons a day on them, just to try and get them all to rank 60 or to level 60. On top of that, I've been doing Shinryu farms whenever I can, although that's been very infrequent. I've only killed Shinryu like 3 times, because every time I join, there's like 1 or 2 new people, and then we take a little bit, and then I end up needing to go, and blah, blah, blah. And then I still do my weekly Savage raids, and I've been doing my Alliance Roulette, which has been great, and then I have weekly reset with Ravenaster, and I do hunts whenever they spawn. Like, I'm doing a shit ton of things in Final Fantasy. The difference is, all those things I'm doing are not urgent. I don't need Savage anymore, but I'll still log in weekly to do it. I don't need Shinryu, because I beat him once, and I don't need the weapons for anything except alternate classes. You know, maps, I'm doing those when I log in too, but I'll do like 1 round, so that way it doesn't take too long. Kojin B-Stripes, those take like 10-15 minutes, so I don't feel bad like playing another game while I'm doing all these things in Final Fantasy XIV, because so little of them are urgent. I'm doing them over time, and I'm getting those things done because I want them done eventually. So that's been the big thing for me. I have a game now with Warframe to grind like fucking crazy, and I have a game like 14 where I am grinding like crazy, but I'm not devoting shit tons of time to it, because I'm letting those things ride out, because I know they get easier over time, so I'm in no rush to do them now, I guess is the best way that I am gonna put it. So, having fun with Warframe, and I do plan on playing it for the next week, especially with all the Twitch-related stuff going on. Like, if you link your Warframe account to Twitch right now, and you watch a Twitch streamer, every time you watch them for a full hour, or they get an achievement, you actually get, like, loot in Warframe for watching people on Twitch, which is fucking crazy. And you can buy shit on the Twitch marketplace for Warframe, like the bundles and shit. So, like, I could be streaming and someone could purchase a bundle and open it and tell everyone in the stream, hey, I just bought this Warframe bundle and I opened it, and they get emotes and they get all this crazy stuff from the Twitch loot. And it's just cool to be able to participate in something like that, which I never really do before. And also the Warframe community has been super welcoming, and people are remembering that they've played Warframe before and had a good time with it. So, it's been overall, it's been really good. So I'm having a good time, and I plan on playing it at least until Ultimate comes out, and then maybe once Ultimate dies down a bit. But then it's Final Fantasy 15 Comrades, so yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening. But I should have some spare time in November. Anyway, that's going to be a wrap. That's going to be the last question from the Twitch chat. I'm still going to hang out with the Twitch chat after I wrap up this video, so be sure to hang out, and I'll be here for a few more minutes. Thank you everyone for watching over on YouTube. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. And of course, ask your questions next week in the forum thread below the video. Or come to the Twitch chat on Sundays around 12:30 p.m. PST, or PDT for the time being, for another 2 weeks, where I actually answer those questions live as well. But anyway, I'm going to get back to that. Thank you again to our Patreon supporters who I thanked at the beginning of the video. YouTube, I will see you next week for the next episode of Mondays with Mr. Happy. Twitch, let's hang out for a few minutes. I'll see you guys next time. And until then, take care.